A Transformers comic explains Optimus Prime's brutality in the Michael Bay films. A Transformers comic from IDW Publishing sheds light on the brutality seen by Autobot leader Optimus Prime in the Michael Bay films. Many fans of the Transformers franchise have criticized Michael Bay's portrayal of the traditionally stout but kind-hearted Optimus Prime within his live-action film franchise produced by Paramount Pictures. Optimus' nobility was replaced by extreme violence and brutality that was unbecoming of the character's usual depiction, even for a soldier like himself. Despite director Michael Bay failing to create an excuse for Optimus' barbarity throughout his films, IDW Publishing managed to create a satisfying reason for why the Autobot leader was particularly quick to violence in 2011's Transformers: Dark of the Moon, while not answering the violent actions of Optimus during the first two Transformers movies directed by Michael Bay. The IDW Publishing comic series Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Rising Storm John Barber, Carlos Magno, and Jesus Abortoff helped provide better context for why the leader of the Autobots violently dispatched the likes of Shockwave and his former mentor Sentinel Prime with such gusto. The answer involved the disappearance of a fan-favorite character that Optimus Prime held very dear. The disappearance of Optimus Prime's love interest, Autobot 1. Many fans of the Michael Bay Transformers films noticed that the group of Autobots known as the RC Sisters disappeared after the climax of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. The four-issue Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Rising Storm acted as a bridge between the film and its sequel, addressing many continuity questions left by Michael Bay. The most prominently featured member of the missing RC Sisters was Autobot 1, a character who has had a long history within the Transformers franchise as Optimus Prime's lover. While the Transformers films did not acknowledge their relationship, IDW Publishing confirmed that within their comic book interpretation of the cinematic universe, Optimus and Autobot 1 did in fact have an established relationship. During Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Rising Storm No. 3 by John Barber, Carlos Magno, and Jesus Abortoff, Autobot 1 led her sisters to a construction site that the newly arrived Decepticon scientist Shockwave was using as a pen for his monstrous pet called the Driller. After overhearing that Shockwave planned to unleash the Driller on Optimus Prime while he and the Autobots were fighting in Philadelphia, Autobot 1 attempted to warn her lover before Shockwave's monstrosity could be unleashed. However, as soon as Autobot 1 finally found the Autobot leader, she was violently disposed of by Shockwave in front of a horrified Optimus. Autobot 1 suffered a tragic fate at the hands of Shockwave. The death of Autobot 1 prompted a violent outburst from Optimus Prime in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Rising Storm No. 4 by John Barber, Carlos Magno, and Jesus Abortoff, who attempted to avenge Autobot 1's death by carving Shockwave's face off. However, Shockwave was saved from Optimus' wrath when the Driller arrived to rescue its master from peril. To add insult to injury, it would be learned later through the Transformers: Dark of the Moon comic book adaptation by John Barber, Jorge Jimenez Moreno, and Romulus Fajardo that Sentinel Prime, the lead antagonist of the adapted film, was chiefly responsible for Shockwave's arrival on Earth. Thus, the treasonous former leader of the Autobots was also responsible for the death of the one person that Optimus Prime loved. The context painted by IDW Publishing surrounding Autobot 1's death at the hands of Shockwave and, to a lesser extent, Sentinel Prime, helped better explain why Optimus was so uncharacteristically merciless towards the two characters. While Michael Bay ultimately ignored the ideas put forward by comic book writer John Barber, it was good to see that an attempt was made to flesh out the character of Optimus Prime and explain why his cinematic portrayal was much darker than his original personality.